A very much unused asset on the Clyde is the large Inchgreen Drydock at Greenock, owned by Peel Ports, which is the owners of Camel Laird Shipyard at Birkenhead on the Mersey. One of the last times a large ship docked here was an emergency situation in 2013 when the ferry Fin Arrow, on charter to Stena Line, received damage to the hull of the ship whilst berthing at Holyhead. It was during a winter refit period, so obviously Birkenhead dry docks were full of vessels undergoing refit. As stated, it was an emergency situation. In that respect, this dry dock should not be allowed to be filled in and turned into a housing estate. There is not too many dry docks of this large size around the UK. I believe there is a conflict of interest here, with the owners owning the dry docks at Birkenhead on the Mersey and all work going now, whereas if this was privately owned, probably by the Scottish Government and leased to a company to do refit work, it would be beneficial. It is large enough to receive some of the largest cruise ships. They could do cruise ship refit work here. But perhaps the biggest problem with this dry dock is that in recent years they built a housing estate right next to the dry dock on former industrial land, which is probably the nail in the coffin of this dry dock, as the local residents would complain about noise, but it would create many Scottish jobs and be beneficial to the local economy. These pictures were taken of the dry dock at the end of March 2023. There is a development to the west of the dry dock, which I believed will be developed for industrial use. There is a campaigner's Facebook page called Save Inchgreen Drydock, which has the latest info about the campaign to save this dry dock. Hopefully, eventually, the Scottish Government will take heed and do work to save this dry dock, which is a very useful asset, as there's not many of them around these days. But perhaps the current Scottish Government has many other issues they need to contend with at the moment.